Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Well, we thought the decision to dissolve the parliament would not come from the courts until September. It appears that they have made a ruling. But before we get into that, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold or silver or any other precious metals, go to our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. So here we go. What did the courts have to say? From 6 points, the federal court issues a ruling regarding the dissolution of the Iraqi parliament. The federal Supreme Court decided the case number 132 and its units. The federal Supreme Court considers, number one, the members of the House of Representatives, after being elected, do not represent themselves or their political blocs, but rather the people. Therefore, it was necessary for them to work to achieve what they were elected for, which is the people's interests, not to be a reason to obstruct their interests and threaten their safety and the safety of the people completely. Number two, the stability of the political process in Iraq requires everyone to abide by the provisions of the Constitution and not to exceed it. And no authority may continue to exceed the constitutional periods indefinitely, because this is a violation of the Constitution and a demolition of the entire political process and a threat to the security of the country and citizens. Number three, the penalty imposed on the House of Representatives for not carrying out its constitutional duties is to dissolve the House when there are justifications for it. Number four, the Constitution of the Republic of Iraq for the year 2005 has drawn up the constitutional mechanisms for dissolving the House of Representatives in accordance with the provisions of Article 64 first thereof. Number five, the jurisdiction of the federal Supreme Court is limited by Article 93 of the Constitution and Article 4 of the federal Supreme Court law, and does not include the dissolution of the parliament. And number six, the Constitution of the Republic of Iraq for the year 2005 did not overlook the regulation of the provisions of the dissolution of the parliament, and therefore there are no room for applying the theory of constitutional omissions. So there you have it. The Supreme Court over there is saying they do not have the authority to dissolve parliament. But see, here's something that was bothering me about this decision. If you think about the situation that Iraq is in, President Saleh has the authority to dissolve the parliament. But what this very same Supreme Court, who's saying the Constitution doesn't allow them to dissolve the parliament, well, then if that's the case, you have to let Saleh do his job. The fact that the Supreme Court interfered, saying that this is only a interim government and they can't make these types of decisions, well, you're really screwing the people of Iraq over. These are really piss poor judgments, in my opinion. Either you get involved and you dissolve parliament, or you let the president do what he's legally able to do, which is dissolve the parliament. Saying that you're constitutionally restricted and cannot dissolve parliament, but then turn around and saying that Saleh doesn't have a right to dissolve the parliament neither, is just pushing everybody over there closer to civil war. Yeah, I really do believe that there's going to be a bad situation come of all this. And the Supreme Courts really have nobody to blame but themselves. Because they're friends of Maliki, and the day they made a ruling that the interim government has no power was the worst thing they ever did. What do you guys think? This is good news. Officially, Iran is offering the Iraqi Dinar in its local banks. And why that's good news is because the more people that use the dinar, the more there is a demand for it. The governor of the Central Bank of Iran announced on Wednesday the launch of the Iraqi Dinar currency in Iranian local banks. The governor said in a statement on the sidelines of the Iranian cabinet meeting that took place today that a quantity of the Iraqi dinar entered the country yesterday and will be distributed starting tomorrow, which is Thursday. Those wishing to perform the 40th visit of Ayman Hussein should go to the local banks to provide the dinar currency besides reviewing the exchange office. Abadi continued by saying that 25 local banks have been identified to offer the dinar currency in order to avoid congestion in the exchange office in the market. So again, this is good. The supply and demand. The more people that are wanting to use the Iraqi dinar, well, that puts more of a demand on it. And if you don't got the supply to cover it, well, then that means the currency goes up in value. So far, Iraq has done dang near everything it needed to do to increase the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar, with the exception of having a stable government and a stable economy, and avoiding uprisings. Fitch expects Iraq's GDP to grow by 8%. What the heck are you talking about? The credit rating agency Fitch expects the real GDP growth for Iraq by about 8% in 2022, after it was 3% in 2021. You know, the fact that they even have an 8% growth is remarkable considering everything else that's going on. They don't have a budget. The agency stated in the report that the increase in the average annual oil production will lead to the recovery of 11% in the oil GDP in 2022. Well, that's not, you want the recovery, but you definitely don't want it just there, which was a constant average in 2021, despite the increase in production rates in the second half of the year 21. Rapid lending growth, supported in part by lending initiatives from the Central Bank of Iraq, will drive non-oil growth by 4% this year. Good, but we need it higher. Although there are some formal restrictions on the economy activity linked to the RONA pandemic, they have become largely irrelevant in practice. So meanwhile, the gentleman who filed the lawsuit to help get Sauder back in office is not going to withdraw his case. And he explains that it's not about Sauder, and it's not about the Sauder's block. It's about the political process in the first place. The proper steps weren't taken. That's what it's really about. If that's true, who knows? Will we be successful in getting Sauder and the people back in? I don't think so. The Sauder's movement files a lawsuit against Maliki and requests the issuance of an arrest warrant and a travel ban. Yeah, I mean, come on. You already had the leading experts in Iraq say that the audio is legitimate. If that's the case, then this guy committed treason. The Secretary General of the Sauder's bloc filed a lawsuit against the head of the State of Coalition, Maliki, regarding an audio leak attributed to the latter. The lawsuit showed a request to issue an arrest warrant against Maliki and prevent him from traveling. And yesterday, Tuesday, an informed judicial source revealed to the news that investigations are still in place in accordance with legal and fundamental procedures with regards to audio leaks attributed to the owners. I have a feeling the courts are going to try to stall this as long as possible to see what happens, whether or not Maliki can get into power. They indicated that there are many specialized bodies participating in the investigation to reach the facts, and there is no pressure on the judicial authorities to close the file. Rather, there is a legal process that the investigation authorities are going through to announce the results in the future. It doesn't say shortly, within a few weeks. It says in the future. Yeah, that's reassuring. So there you have it so far of what's going on in Iraq. The Supreme Court has spoken. They will not dissolve Parliament. They won't allow the president to dissolve Parliament. Therefore, the only people who can dissolve the Parliament are the people working in the Parliament. Go figure. This is why things are so messed up over there. You guys let me know what you think. I look forward to your comments, and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.